Sometimes, the golden age of Hollywood whispers back to us, not through the noise of fame or fortune, but in the quiet spaces left behind when legends leave this earth. For decades, Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford represented more than stardom. Together, they were timeless, eternal, as if wrapped in the same film reel of destiny. But recently, that reel came to a heartbreaking pause. Cue soft wind sound. T to black and white photo of Robert Redford. Then to Barbra, visibly older, reflective. Now, Barbra Streisand icon, artist, and dear friend has broken her silence, mourning a man she once called the light behind the camera lens of her soul. This is the untold journey of two hearts intertwined by art. And the truth Barbra finally shares after Robert Redford's tragic passing. When the news broke, it came not with a scream, but a hush. Robert Redford has passed away. 5 simple words. But for millions, it felt like the end of an era of a certain kind of Hollywood magic we don't see anymore. And for Barbra Streisand, it felt like something deeper. A chapter had closed and only she knew what was written between the lines. Barbra didn't say a word, not at first. Her social media timelines remained quiet. No rush tribute, no public statement. Not even a quote, just silence. And in that silence, the world waited. Was she too heartbroken to speak, or were their memories too heavy for easy words? What the world didn't know was that her silence was never emptied, was sacred to understand their bond. We must go back to a single moment in 1973, to a scene that changed everything. Camera zooms into a film frame, The Way We Were. Barbra Streisand, Robert Redford. 2 names, 1 film. But what made this more than just classic? Hollywood was what lived behind the performances, something real. He was the golden boy, the man with the California sun in his hair and quiet storms in his eyes. She, the unconventional beauty, raw, fiery, emotionally bottomless. Between them, there was no script strict enough to hold what naturally spilled onto the screen in The Way We Were. They played lovers torn apart by ideals, torn between passion and politics. But off camera, despite the rumors of romance, the two built something many whisper about, but rarely find, a sacred, lifelong friendship. Robert once said, Barbra was magnetic. I didn't know how we would work together. But when the camera rolled, I didn't have to act. She makes you feel things. And Barbra. She called him dreamy, then quickly added, but more than handsome. Robert was sincere. He listened, and he never made me feel less when others did. Their bond went beyond the real. It became real. Though Hollywood wanted them to be a couple, they knew what they had was deeper than a tabloid headline. It was rare. It was safe. And it was forever. As time polished their legacies, both found themselves at the top, but often alone. Barbra, even with awards and sold-out stadiums, often spoke of the anxiety, the need to be perfect, the pressure to be more than a voice. Robert, after the cameras dimmed, retreated into the quiet of Wyoming, preferring mountains over red carpets. But through the years, their friendship never faded. Every birthday phone call, every handwritten note. They didn't need to be photographed together to be close. They just were. When Redford retired from acting in 2018, Streisand was one of the few who publicly honored him. She said, "There wouldn't be a Hubble without you. Bob, you gave him a heart." But what she never said publicly was how much she missed that kind of truth in a friend. In Robert Redford's final months, few knew just how ill he had become. The news was kept quiet. Dignity was protected. Sources hinted at a slow decline. A man at peace with time, living among the aspens, surrounded by close family, rarely seen. But Barbra knew. She was one of the few allowed into that inner circle, not for fame, but for love. While she did not speak to the press, she's believed to have connected with him one final time. Whether it was over the phone or in person, no one knows for sure. But insiders say her voice carried a tremble. She thanked him For everything when he passed, quietly surrounded by his children, Barbra went silent. The world posted photos. Stars gave tributes. Directors shared old stories, but she waited. And then, days later, Barbra Streisand finally shared her truth. Barbra posted a photo. Grainy, vintage. Him looking at her. Her smiling not with her mouth, but with her entire being. The caption read, "Robert Redford, you were my partner in one of the most cherished experiences of my life. Your charm, your depth, your kindness, I will miss you, my friend. We will never forget Hubble. I will never forget you." No hashtags, no elaborate production. Just emotion. Fans flooded the comments. This broke me. I'm crying. The way we were was my parents' love story. And for a moment, the internet paused. Not for gossip, but for grief behind the camera. Robert Redford empowered people, especially women, long before it was fashionable. He believed in Barbra long before the world saw her genius. He supported her voice, her vision, and her fight for creative control. And she never forgot that. In 1991, decades after The Way We Were, Barbra said in an interview, "I begged Bob to do the sequel, but he didn't want to ruin the legacy." Maybe he was right. Maybe some stories should stay sacred. That's who they were. Sacred, private, unshakable as the waves of tribute slow. And the world resumes its rhythm. Barbra Streisand continues to carry the torch not just of Redford's memory, but of their lasting connection. She still listens to the theme from The Way We Were. She still remembers every line in the film, every pause, every look, and she still, to this day, calls it the most emotionally honest performance of her career. But it wasn't acting, it was heart. The kind you don't rehearse, the kind that only comes when someone sees all of you and stays. Love takes many forms. Sometimes it's loud and fiery, etched into wedding vows or displayed on silver screens. But sometimes, love lives in long silences, shared glances, and precious unspoken understandings. Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford never needed to be lovers to embody love. They were partners in memory, laughter, art, and something so rare not even celebrity could taint it. Now, as the light of one legend dims, the other carries his flame in song, memory, and silence that finally found its voice. Because some friendships, some stories, live far beyond the way we were.